This creative philosophical truth and cognition should always and first of all rule a human's thinking, feeling and acting. 103. For only he who is one with the Spirit can recognize and do good in the long run, because he has the possibilities of creation within himself. 104. Nothing negative within the endless universe may touch and enslave him any more. 105. In addition to this creative philosophical consciousness comes the practical, dynamic, creative, i.e., the mystical consciousness that consists of the perception of the one reality in all things. 106. Therefore the human has to be a practical philosopher and mystic, and perceive the reality in its changeable, passing forms. 107. For what is a human? 108. He is only a figure and a name. 109. If one takes away a human's name and figure, what will remain? 110. What remains is the fundamental essence, the existence, the spirit. 111. The human who fails to see this will be driven around and away by the slightest breath of air, without hope for rescue. He will always be striving to find a firm hold somewhere that, however, will never be offered unless he searches for, and finds, the fundamental truth. 112. Billions of humans look up to the stars in the sky, however without any results or realizations. 113. Astronomers, however, while looking up to the sky, discover new worlds and write books about it. 114. But what they see and recognize, other people cannot see or recognize, even if they can look up. 115. Despite their seeing eyes they are blind. 116. In a similar way this is the case with the normal and the spiritual human. 117. The human, who truly lives according to creation's laws, sees everywhere and recognizes what is creative, in every life form, in everything, in every thought and act, in every human, in all of nature's work and also in all conceivable circumstances. 118. But the normal and spiritual human, who is harmed by religions or other unreal teachings, may not see or hear, or recognize even one iota of truth. 119. His life is unspiritual, all the more pressed into human material ways. 120. Thereby he is blind, deaf and ignorant. 121. The human who adheres to creation's laws is the most blessed and most fearless being. 122. His will is uninsurmountable, his dedication immeasurable and endless, and his wisdom and love are constant and perfect, not capricious and full of doubts, like it is the case with those who are dependent from religions or generally those who are led astray in some way. 123. His mind resembles the wide, endless sea and does not let itself come out of its rest. 124. He does not tremble with fear. 125. Therefore, the human may unfold his spiritual mind that is not any more reached by any degenerated negative force. 126. The mind which gives no shelter to negatively degenerated thoughts and supersedes all positively degenerated thoughts and actions. 127. Only a balanced mind that is rooted in what is creative and creative service, in creative wisdom, its knowledge, its love and joy that are more real than all material walls around and more real than the human environment is valuable and serving the spirit's development. 128. Therefore the human being shall be spiritually great and constructive at all times. 129. The spirit, the source of all endless, creative development, is itself the human's innermost being. 130. The human outer being is full of limitations, because it is not itself, but only its wrap, its material body, a limitation, a misleading matter, the source of dual and pain, and it is limited regarding cognition and will, willingness to make sacrifices, freedom, love and luck. 131. If the human looks at his fellowman in an external, material way only, he sees nothing other than just exactly the form and figure, the material of this special person. 132. If he looks at him with the spiritual eyes of cognition and knows that this universally, all-defying consciousness in himself is also in all the other ones, albeit unknown to them, then the manner of how he sees his fellowman changes completely. 133. He then does not simply see a man anymore, a woman, a girl or a child, but he sees the fellowman as a bearer of a creative spirit that knows about itself, about its existence, and wants to reveal itself to anybody if there would only be offered an opportunity. 134. He who knows the truth sees his fellow men from this knowledge and recognition, because he sees in him what is creative. 135. At least he now knows more than he knew before he recognized the truth. 136. This is the proof then that ignorance is nothing that cannot be changed for all times. 137. If the human is willing to accept the truth, he can free himself from all ignorance. 138. The human can free himself from everything, and everything can be taken from him, except the creative consciousness, the spirit, the existence within his interior, this purely spiritual realm within him. 139. He may be robbed from all of his possessions and may be driven away from his home, but nobody may drive him away from his spiritual realm within his interior. 140. Thus, the human should be constantly aware of what is creative, without which he would not be able to draw a single breath, could grasp no thought, could not realize, see, hear or experience. 141. Therefore, the great sages of all times say, the creative spirit is nearer to the human than his own breath. 142. The human may not escape from this highest consciousness, for sooner or later, he surrenders to this creative reality, because it is the life of his life, the spirit of his spirit, the consciousness of his consciousness, the light of his light, the central thought force of all life, the existence that projects all human thinking by far, against which all power of the human material intellectual thinking sinks into absolute insignificance. 143. The spirit itself is able to live without the light of the physical eyes, in the same way that it may live without hearing, arms, legs, or even without the exterior consciousness, exterior understanding. 144. However, there is always something present that enables him to keep on living, namely his own creative force. 145. This awareness of oneself, this all-observing and all-registering spiritual consciousness within the human, that looks at his thoughts and motions and that stands behind all of his thinking, that tells him whether he is knowing or ignorant, this is what is called creative, the spiritual consciousness. 146.